Good day everyone and welcome to reading and writing class, second quarter, week number 2. To begin with, let us have first a warm-up activity. In this activity, you are going to take a look at the pictures on the next slide, wherein each picture represents an issue in our society and even in our country. Right after that, you are free to comment down your reason or your explanation about if you are in favor or not in favor regarding the given issue. Here are the following topic or issue. We have abortion, same-sex marriage, face-to-face classes, and divorce. I'd like to know what is your personal stance about the following issue. You may simply comment if you're in favor or not in favor with the following issue. Good job, students, and thank you for sharing your answers about the initial activity. Now let's have the following objectives that you need to accomplish at the end of our lesson. First, you need to explain, or you must be able to explain critical reading as looking for ways of thinking. Second, you must identify claims explicitly or implicitly made in a written text. And lastly, you must identify the context in which a text was developed. Once again, these are the objectives that you need to accomplish at the end of our lesson. Today's lesson is all about critical reading as looking for ways of thinking. In this lesson, we will learn to differentiate explicit and implicit claims in a text. Aside from that, we will also discuss some ways on how to develop a certain text by simply determining their context in accordingly. Let us define first what is implicit. When we say class implicit, it is implied. Now, from the word itself, implicit, implied, or simply understood, though not plainly or directly expressed. This is something that is therefore implicit when it is not directly stated, but is either suggested in the wording or necessary to effectuate the purpose. For example, she implicitly said she likes white shoes by saying she likes all colors but not tan. Here, class, in this example, this woman simply states that she liked all shoe colors, however, not tan. Well, she doesn't directly say she likes white shoes. She implicitly does because white is not a tan or not tan. Take note, class, that in implicit, it is not expressed clearly. That means it is not, it doesn't express, or it is not expressed directly. Only it is suggested, indirectly stated. So it's like a hidden message, no? That as a reader, you must be able to break down or to understand for you to effectively grasp the message being conveyed. The next concept, aside from implicit, is what we call explicit. From the word itself, explicit, that means it is a way wherein you are now ready to express it. Okay? It means to fully and clearly express something, leaving nothing implied. Something is explicit, class, when it is clear, stated, and spelled out. And there is no room for confusion because it is expressed directly without sugarcoating. As in the writing of a contract or like a statute. It's like direct to the point, being expressed directly. For example, class, the law was explicit in whose tax rates were to be raised. And another sentence is, he said explicitly that, or he said explicitly, you will not attend that concert. Here, in both examples, the word explicit is used to demonstrate something that has been clearly and unambiguously expressed or stated. Here, class, there is no room for doubt because everything is clearly and directly communicated. Take note that in explicit, it is obvious, unlike the implicit, it's like hidden. No? It is obvious and at the same time apparent. Moreover, we can say that it is directly stated. We are done determining the difference between implicit and explicit. Now let's define what is a claim or claims if it is in a plural form. You know what, class? The word claim comes from Latin word clamare, which means to cry out or simply shout. It is synonymously the same with the word opinion, no? Your perspective, your viewpoint, your standpoint, or your personal stance or personal point of view about a certain topic or issue. And it should be cry out. You should share your claim towards other people, no, for them to consider as well your idea. So that is what we call claim or claims. In literature class, a claim is a statement that asserts or declares something to be true. Remember, class, that a claim can either be factual or a judgment. Claims can work on their own or in conjunction with other claims to form a larger argument. So we can consolidate some of the claims that we believe it will help us, no, to form a more effective argumentative speech or argumentative essay, and so on. Remember as well that until proven, all claims are just opinions. And to identify the claims, we should focus on the first and last sentence of a paragraph, most especially when we are assessing or evaluating certain argumentative essay or persuasive paragraph. Moreover, the details in each paragraph, class, will also guide you as to whether a text supports or opposes a certain claim and argument. Remember as well that whenever you give your claim or your opinion, no, or your personal point of view about a certain topic or issue, make sure that you are capable to provide evidences or backed up ideas or information which will make your claim a bit like stronger, no? Effective. Take a look at this example, class. In this statement, we can say that it is an example of a claim because this certain statement still is debatable. No? Let me just read. The governor is a bad man. The governor has continually done the community a disservice by mishandling money, focusing on frivolous causes, and failing to listen to his constituents. Remember, just like what I have mentioned a while ago, a claim should be debatable. No matter what happens, should be debatable. Okay? We can still give our point of view about this certain topic. You may also consider the following guide questions in assessing a certain claim. You may answer the following questions. Are the claims presented in the text supported by evidence? If it is supported by, let's say, accurate and reliable evidences, then therefore we can say that it is an effective claim. Okay, it's strong. It is a strong claim coming from someone na he or she can talagang defend his or her claim. Okay? That means, just like what I have mentioned a while ago, it's important that you need to indicate supporting details or let's say backup evidences for you to stick with your claim. Second question, are these pieces of evidence valid and sufficient? Of course, make sure that the things that you're going to include should be valid, no? Should be accurate, and at the same time sufficient in a way that still it's helpful in a way that it is directly connected with the topic or the issue that you are currently working on. Third question, does the text have references? Of course, it's important that you should also indicate resources or let's say, yeah, references. Where did you get the set of information and so on? And always check if this is reliable and recent, or let's say up to date. Reliable in a way that it's real, the ideas are real, or like it's reliable in a way that it's factual, maasahan, like that. And up to date, it should be up to date class. Okay. Last question, we have, how does the writer present facts and opinions? It's important, class, no, that you know how to identify. You know how to identify whether it is a fact or an opinion. Okay? So you should be familiarized about identifying facts versus opinions. In line with identifying what is a claim, we are going as well to deal with the three types of claims. And we have the following: claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy. When we say claim of fact, it asserts that a condition has existed, exists, or will exist and are based on facts or data. And these are the questions which will help you to identify. We can categorize it under claim of fact. We have what is true or false, what happened or didn't happen, how do we know this, and what exists or doesn't exist. Remember, class, when we are talking about claim, it should be still debatable. Now, I want you to assess these examples. We have obesity causes health problems. Second sentence, there is one God. Take note, class, that when it is no longer debatable, just like what I have mentioned a while ago, it is not a claim anymore. Facts that are globally or universally accepted are not considered claim of fact. However, instead, it is being so-called statement of fact. That's why these examples being written here in our PowerPoint presentation are not an example. These sentences are not an example of claim of fact. However, we can consider it under statement of fact because it is no longer debatable. Second type of claim, we have claim of value. Here, it attempts to prove that some things are more or less desirable than others. It is based on judgment and evaluation on a philosophical, aesthetic, or moral standpoint. Here also in claim of value, we simply compare as well, which is more desirable or less desirable. And you may simply assess a certain statement by simply asking these set of questions. We have, it is good or bad, or is it good or bad? Is it right or wrong? Or is it moral or immoral? And those are the questions that will help you to identify if it is under claim of value. For example, we have here gay marriage is immoral. Second sentence, opera is not as entertaining as musical comedy. So these examples are under claim of value because we are talking about what is moral or immoral in the first sentence, and in the second sentence we are comparing which is more desirable. Less desirable. Less desirable. Is it opera or musical comedy? Last type of claim that we have here is claim of policy. It suggests a solution to a problem that has been defined or described by an argument. It is something that should or should not be done. And actually, class, we have here hint, to determine if this one is under claim of policy. Kasi class, here in claim of policy, we often use modal verbs such as should, must, shall, and so on. And you may simply answer the following questions: what should be done, or how can we solve this problem? Since we're talking about claim of policy, it has something to do, class, with rules and regulation, laws, rights, instructions, being obedient, and so on. For example, first sentence, we should respect everyone in school. So this is clearly an example of claim of policy. As you can see, class, there is a modal verb should. That is our hint, no, to identify, an additional hint for you to identify if it is under claim of policy. Another thing, you should support restrictions on abortion. Another perfect example for claim of policy. Okay? Remember as well, the following important aspects. A claim is a statement and not a question. That is really universally accepted definition of a claim, that it is not a question, rather it's a statement. A claim is against the status quo, kasi it's debatable, right? The claim is the focus of the argument, of course. The focal point of the argument is your claim. Now, class, I want you to try this. You may simply comment down your answer. Just identify what type of claims are being indicated in the following sentences. First, to compete globally, the Department of Education adopted the K-12 curriculum. Second, honesty is the best policy. Third, smoking can lead to respiratory infection. Fourth, euthanasia is immoral. And fifth, extrajudicial killings lessen the crimes in our country. Good job, class, for answering the following set of statements. Now, I want you to answer this question. I want you to take a look at the picture and answer the question. What can you say about the photo? Perhaps you are already familiar with this photo since most of the time you are exploring some social media platform wherein you are able to grasp different, let's say, memes like this. And you may share your answer down below. In line with the picture being flashed a while ago, class, we can say that it is directly connected with our next lesson, which is all about context of text development. Actually, class, there are so many ways on developing a certain text aside from familiarizing and applying or like utilizing patterns of development. Now, class, being a critical reader and an effective writer, it involves understanding that texts are always developed with a certain context. A text is neither written nor read in vacuum, and its meaning and interpretation are affected by a given set of circumstances. But what about defining what truly a context is? When we say context, class, it's the scope, no, wherein you're going to define whether it's under social, cultural, political, historical, and other related circumstances that surround the text, and from the terms from which it can be better understood and evaluated. And I know that you already have the idea and the capability as well, no, to identify a certain book about what context it has. In developing a certain text, we may simply apply these strategies, no, or these fancy strategies, and we called it intertext and hypertext. Intertext is sometimes called intertextuality. Okay? It is the modeling of a text, meaning by another text. It is defined as the connections between language, image, characters, themes, or subject depending on their similarities in language, genre, or discourse. This view recognizes that the text is always influenced by previous text. That is why it is otherwise known as a text within the text. It is a way of an author wherein he or she will derive a certain vibe from the other text or from the other output or sense of art, and then she or he will adopt it. But it doesn't mean that she will copy everything or he will copy everything. It's just that he will just get a gist or like derive something from that original text. And to tell you honestly, the picture that I have flashed a while ago sa first part, yung meme natin, si Mona Lisa, but the face somehow si Mr. Bean pala. That's an example of what we call intertextuality, no? That particular art, crop of art class, is being derived, of course, from the original painting made by, who made Mona Lisa? Leonardo da Vinci. That's it, no? That was being derived. That meme, that particular meme was derived, no? From the original art, or let's say painting of Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, Mona Lisa, Leonardo da Vinci. That's it. And we can say that that certain picture a while ago is an example of what we call intertextuality. There are three main types of intertext. We called it appropriation, allusion, and parody. When we say appropriation class, we borrow idea from the other text. Even some of the features, no, we can borrow, no, but not everything class. Now, it adopts the old text and becomes new. Like for example, class, did you know that from the original book, the Brothers Grimm fairytale, it was adapted pala, no, to Disney Cinderella film, and it was adapted through time. And you know what? There's a lot of, aside from books class, there are also a lot of movies being adapted, no? Like for example, in America or like in US, diba, they have, let's say, Superman. Here in the Philippines, there's an adaptation for that one, no? It was being derived by a certain director or author, no? We have here Captain Barbell, no? That's also an example of what we call intertextuality. Another example class is, like for example, the original composition or like form or art regarding the Little Mermaid. Here in the Philippines, we adapt, of course, from that movie. We have Jezebel or Marina, like that. So that's also an example of appropriation or intertextuality, no? It adapts the old, let's say, form of art and becomes new. Aside from that, we have Spider-Man pala. Spider-Man. Here in the Philippines, we have Gagamboy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Now, let's move naman, class, sa books naman, or sa book. In Wattpad, we have The Four Bad Boys and Me. And in reality, like not reality, but sa movie type, or like video type version naman nun, yeah, movie or teleserye type, we have, sa Korea yata to, if I'm not mistaken, in Sokor, they have as well, oh my gosh, The Four Bad Boys and Meteor Garden. Yeah, hindi pala Korea yon, no, Taiwanese. Yeah, Meteor Garden. Or Boys Over the Flowers, if I'm not mistaken, class. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. So that's also an example of intertextuality, class. Aside from that, class, so sa mga commercials, we do have intertextuality. Like for example, Sleeping Beauty yata yun, class. Inadapt yung scenario ng Sleeping Beauty, no, from the commercial of Hansel. I don't know kung naalala niyo pa. Sleeping Beauty ba yun o Beauty and the Beast? Basta ganun, class. Now, if you can still recall that certain commercial or advertisement, you may comment below, no, for me to recall. Is it Sleeping Beauty or Beauty and the Beast? And actually, there's a lot of intertextuality, no, existing, class. Up until now, marami pa ding nangyayaring intertextuality. Okay? That's it. Next, we have allusion. It is the reference of another text, a person, place, or event. Here, class, the audience or reader has to make the connection. For example, the song Love Story by Taylor Swift was influenced by the famous novel Romeo and Juliet, written by William Shakespeare. Now, even though magkaiba, they have different medium, no? The other one is in a form of a song, and the other one is in a form of a novel or novelette. Still, there's a connection, no? There's still a connection. Derived, no? The song was derived from the novel Romeo and Juliet. Another example for this one, timely, no? Napapanahong halimbawa, class, for this one is mga aspiring politicians, wherein they use yung mga tono ng sikat na kanta, hymn, ng mga sikat na kanta and they're just going to indicate their own lyrics for that one. Like for example, si Isko Moreno, one of my students mentioned this as an example, no? And I would like as well to use this one. Ginamit niya yung Call Me Maybe na parang tune, no? Para sa kanyang jingle. And then yun, nilapatan niya lang ng kanyang sariling lyrics. Okay? So that's what we called intertextuality class, no? We derive certain idea from the original one and then we adapt it, but it doesn't mean that we are going to copy everything on it. We just need a little bit idea from it, okay? And that's it. That is what we called allusion, still, intertextuality. And last type of intertextuality is what we called a parody. Simply, the example or the picture being shown a while ago is an example of a parody, which means it has something to do with delivering or showing funny imitation of a serious piece of literature. It could be writing, art, or music. It pokes fun at something to entertain the audience or reader. Somehow, class, no, we can say that we can still connect this one sa mga memes na nagkakalat, no, throughout social media, different social media platform that we have. Yung mga memer, no, they tend to get the original version of it and then they will indicate funny imitation of it. Like for example, here, makikita nyo, no, si Mona Lisa, ginawang meme, no, ginawang parody version, no? Intertextuality siya in a way that the original form of Monday Lisa is not naman typically ganito, no? There's really an original form of it. Okay, so this one is an example of intertextuality under parody because it pokes entertainment. Another example, class, if you're familiar with the painting The Scream, no? Here, class, yung funny imitation naman dito, class, is instead of putting yung original form nito, class, or tao, or like person, no? Here, class, they indicate, the person who did or who made this meme, or let's say a picture, no? He indicated Simpson instead of the original one. Okay? And there's a lot of parody, or let's say memes, no? Na nagsisirculate all over the social media platform wherein we can say that it's definitely a perfect example, so other examples of intertextuality. Even you yourself, so sometimes you edit face of your classmates and you tend to paste it, no? Sa original picture na nagkakalat all throughout. And that's an example of parody or intertextuality. But be careful, no, in indicating this set of, let's say, creativity, because sometimes we tend to offend someone. And that's it. Now, class, let's have example of intertext in a sentence, no? We have here, you are a Solomon when it comes to making decisions. Here, class, the intertext in this sentence is none other than the character Solomon. Because we all know Solomon is one of the prominent Bible characters known for his wisdom. And it's directly compared, no, here that the person is very wise, no, in making decision. That's why. Another example, class, of intertextuality in a sentence. I'm sure that you're the culprit. Because I could almost see your nose growing. As we all know, class, even hindi directly sinabi, no, mentioned the character, no, Pinocchio. Still, we all know that the person, every time na nag-commit siya ng mistake or like nagsinungaling siya, hahaba yung kanyang ilong. So this one is intended, no, to describe one of the prominent characters in fiction texts. We have Pinocchio. Diba? We adapt certain, or no, we derive certain idea from someone na kilala, something na kilala, and so on. And this is what we call intertext in a sentence. Perhaps, class, some of you are asking, no? Since we are adopting or deriving certain idea from the other original text or from the other text or scrap of art, ma'am, can we consider this one as an act of this academic dishonesty, otherwise known as plagiarism? You know what? To answer your question, we cannot definitely categorize it under plagiarism because, as we all know, in intertextuality, it does not require citation or referencing punctuation. And most of the time, it is there's a misconception about that one, no? Napagkakamalan, it's a form of plagiarism, but it's not, because we are not citing or we're not referencing something on it. Now we're just like getting certain creativity from the original text, and then we tend to integrate it with our own crop of art. Okay, and that's it. We're done with intertextuality and hope that you learned a lot from it. Now we're going to deal with another way in developing a certain text. And this is what we call hypertext. Malaking kaibahan nito, class, sa intertextuality. Because in hypertext, it has something to do with gathering info naman, or like searching information in an easier way. Like for example, let me just read. Hypertext is a nonlinear way of showing information. Yeah, nonlinear in a way because we're not talking about or referring about printed material books, no? We are now dealing with the online resources that we have. Like for example, when we are using our cellular phone, tablets, or even desktop and so on, so we can say that we can apply this certain way, no, which is about hypertext. It presents a new way to read online text that differs from reading the standard linear text. The text is taken through links or commentaries directly connected to the text being read. It connects topics on a screen to related information, graphics, videos, and music. Information is not simply related to text. And class, here's the example of what we call hypertext. As you can see, the highlighted words there, yung mga naka-blue, naka-highlight, na color blue na mga words, yun po yung mga example natin na hypertext. Wherein, once we're going to tap it or click it, then we will proceed to another tab, and we will be dealing with another set of information or details, which are directly relevant sa previous tab na pinanggalingan natin. Okay, it is much easier and accessible in a way na just by a simple click or tap, no, ng certain word, and we will proceed to another tab with a bunch of information. However, class, since maraming ino-offer na information, be vigilant pa din. Make sure that if you're going to include it, double check, no? Make sure that it's accurate, reliable, and at the same time, recent or up to date. Most of the time, kapag nagkiklik tayo ng link, like not only in Google, but also in Facebook or in other social media platform, no? We tend to click it and then we will proceed to another tab or another website and so on. And that's what we call hypertext, no? And I hope we're clear about that one. It's very easy to understand. A nonlinear way of showing or like exploring information. And that will be all for this lesson. Before you end this video, I would like you to answer the following questions for our exit ticket. You may simply answer, what are the different claims in a text? What are the different types of claims in a text? Second, how will you employ these ways of thinking as critical reader? How are you going to apply that one? How are you going to utilize these ways of thinking as a critical reader? Third, how important critical reading is. So what's the significance of that one for you as a student, as a senior high school student? And here is your performance task number 2 per houses. You're going to write a 200-word critic of a song of your own choice. Disclaimer, choice as a group, not choice as a leader or as a one member of your house. Now, it can be an OPM or English. And here, class, as you critique a certain song, make sure to point out intertextuality present in its lyrics or music video. And you will be evaluated according to the following criteria: content, 10 points, organization, 10 points, creativity, 10 points, total of 30 points. I hope we're clear about this one. I'll be posting as well some of the related instruction regarding your activity. And make sure to be ready for your quiz on Friday. Please watch this video and understand our lesson, because I think the next lesson is definitely helpful, no? For you to really understand the significance of reading and writing skills as your subject. Thanks for watching. See you in my next one. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more lessons to learn. Bye!